My video tonight is going to be about how I prepare for the worst. I'm going to show you about 3 years worth of expenses as they've incrementally gone up, and just just like anybody else, you're living and going along, and you get an unexpected bill or an unexpected expense. Something goes up astronomically. Your living wage or your wage per hour or salary isn't going up, and you're having a hard time, like most of us, and definitely myself in the last few years, trying to make ends meet, stay above water. Everybody's got other responsibilities other than just the roof over your head and food and clothes. Everybody's got, the expense of electric and insurances and other, I don't have it yet, but who knows? Co-pays and doctor visits and tests and things this doesn't cover or that doesn't cover. And I just dread if and when, inevitably it will come, where those are also added into our expenses. So, what do you do besides, when I was younger than that, I just throw my hands up. I would work 3 jobs and that and just see what could be done. There wasn't a lot, I didn't have a lot of bills when I was younger. In fact, when my husband and I got married, we had groceries, electric, a landline, and our mortgage. 4 bills. That was it. We couldn't even afford car insurance, so we drove just in the area for our jobs and stuff like that, and prayed until finally and eventually we could get a car insurance to accept us, and we've never left that car insurance. We've had it for almost 30 years. So in 2021, wages after taxes and health care of $800 a month and dental of $60 a month and contributions to 401k were $2,800. Our rent was $800. The next year it was $900. Our electric was $90. The next year it was $95. Car insurance was $65 at that point in time, it was a 14-year-old car. And the next year it was $67. Rental insurance on about $40,000 of the property was $28. The next year it was $28. Vet visit was $40 in 2021, and the next year it was $90. They required 2 services performed at one time. We would each had track phones then, so we'd get minutes however we could through promo codes or whatever, and only talk if it was an emergency. And we didn't have phones, so if we had questions to ask a store, we drove to the store and asked a question. Groceries were $800 in 21 and 22. Cat food was 88 cents in 21 and then 90 cents in 22, so we got a membership with PetSmart to bring it back down to 88. Oil change was $50 both years. We used to go to Walmart and get that done. And then what we would have left over at the end of the month in those 2 years was $861.12 in the one and $704.10 in the other, because of course rent had gone up and you had the same wage. Over the course of time since this new owner took over, our rent increase, the first year was 12.5, the second year was 24.40, third year was another 12, almost 13%. And in the 3 lease renewals we've had with him, our rent has gone up 63%. Our apartment is being marketed as though it's in a large metropolitan area, and it's brand new. So, yeah, we try to put money in savings. I paid student loans, a car maintenance fund, because our car was always breaking down, and in fact, even that $100 a month was not covering our expenses in that. There was a lot of things that we either had to do without. My husband was still working some overtime at this time. I was selling left and right on eBay, and so that's how we were able to do, fix our car. And then we had the 10% emergency fund, which went away the following year because we had a rent increase. And then we come down to the last 2 years. Wage went up a little bit, $31.67, but the rent went up to $11.20, and then the following year, which is this year, it went up to $12.65. Electric was at $115, now it's at $128 for an average bill. Our car insurance went up to $69. Even bringing our possessions down, because I've sold a good many of them, not only for money but for us to move, still maintains at $31, which, in the grand scheme of things, is not bad. Our last vet visit was $142, where in 2023 it was $137, so it's just about double what it used to be in 2021. I got a smartphone finally in 2023, which cost me $63 plus a $5 a month payment for the smartphone. Still do the track phone, still have $60 of the fuel, went up to 60 from 45 both years. Our groceries went down to $600 a month. That covers everything, all of our food, all of our paper products, all of our cat, and all of our fuel for the car. And then we still spend 90 cents on cat food and 88 if we go to Walmart. And our oil change was 85. We stopped going to Walmart. It was 85 right here in town, and now the last oil change was 116. That's for the oil filter, the oil itself, changing it, and then a couple other things that he looks at. That's what he charges. So in 2023, we have 861.10 left over, and the student loans were done. We still were putting in some money in a maintenance fund and an emergency fund and a savings fund. And then when the rent really went up in 2024, it got down to where we realized we're behind in the savings account, we're behind in our overall emergency fund. You're supposed to have 6 months to a year in money for emergency expenses. We're not even close to that. And the car maintenance went to new car savings because obviously we need a new car. So yeah, that is how things have gone up, and they're probably going to go up here with our next lease renewal within 90 days here now to a suspected $1,600 a month in rent. So what's going to give? What are we going to do different? How are we going to, are we going to forgo a new car? Well, we can't do that. Are we going to forgo having some sort of an emergency savings? We can't do that either. Could we go into any other income that we have? No. When we do that, then we take money away from a house down payment. We take money away from being able to relocate. We take money away from what we need to retire. And in my case, in just a few years, less than 5 years. So yeah, what are we going to do? What am I going to do? Well, I mentioned later on in the video that I make some homemade things. And that helps save us money. You need time. If you don't have time, that's not going to help you. I do have time. I make time when I don't have time. And I know that when I do make homemade things, it saves us money, and we have that money then to use on other things. We went from grocery shopping once a month to every week to once a month with just fill-in hauls. And then I wanted to do it every 2 months. What we're going to do is we're going to have a date night where we do get to go to Walmart and Aldi and Goodwill and shop, and then we're going to have one big shop where we go out of town where it's mostly where we buy our meat and our yogurt. So then the other 2 weeks we're not going to leave the house or go to a store or do anything like that, but if it is an emergency, something that we need, and we cannot get it locally, I did sign up for Walmart Plus for $49, and they deliver free to the house. So we would have that to fall back on. We've always been big on Amazon because of the convenience. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something worth $3 all the way up to $50. If it's on Amazon, it's convenient for us to buy. I don't know why my paper's turning blue. We hit the button just like anybody else, and it gets, after a while, and that you just absolutely depend on Amazon, and I don't want that dependence anymore for birthday gifts or Christmas gifts or gifts for other people, or, I found a cheaper price on Amazon because we just got to cut the ties. So we're going to have 3 orders a year with Amazon, and those are going to be for the things that we have to buy on Amazon because they're not available anymore, and there are a few of those. So we're going to look at the inventory of what we've got at the end of this year and what we need for 3 months. And if we have to order it, then fine. And then we're going to go 3 to 4 months without any orders and, cutting off the Prime membership and stuff. Just do it month by month. And hopefully my goal of just shopping 3 to 4 times a year we will realize that by the end of 2025. And that will help us out immensely. Another thing that I do, I have to sit in front of the window in order to have the light. Another thing that I do every year, and I've done this for probably 15 years, is we go through everything and we say, these are the things that we're not going to buy in the following year because I've taken an inventory and I have enough of. So I've taken an inventory and I have enough tennis shoes, enough purses, I don't need any bags of any kind, pajamas, winter coats, jackets, scarves, boots, cologne, socks, mugs, pillows, window clings, holiday stuff, YouTube equipment, art supplies, or craft supplies. I set a budget for Goodwill, which in the coming year it will be $20. So if I want to buy a shirt or something, $6.99 or 2 for 10, and my husband can have the other 10 of the budget. Streaming services, just one at a time. We don't really have problems with overspending or hoarding or buying things that aren't necessary. But everybody's got a weakness. So one of mine is throw pillows. No more of those. Also, I like books. Obviously, I get most of mine at the thrift store, along with the clothing at the thrift store, along with the DVDs at the thrift store. But I am really seriously thinking of no more resale. It's getting harder and harder to make any part of my profit margin. So I'm thinking, that is probably an entity that's going to be drying up sooner or later. And so, I'll always be a part of it. I just won't be a regular seller. So, yeah, you go through and you decide, what, we've done this for 15 years and these things don't end up in a cart, anywhere. They're just not bought. They're not prioritized anymore because it's been realized that there is enough. As far as the household, whenever we go into any type of store like Home Depot or Menards, we go through these sections and, we don't need a broom or a mop. We don't need new sheets or blankets. We don't need any games, big towels, pots and pans, appliances, gadgets, bakeware, tea towels, scrubbers, gloves, Rubbermaid, Tupperware, silverware, electronics. We're good for emergency gear and hiking gear. We have great bikes. We don't need helmets. We don't need any more tools. Our cat has everything and certainly don't want any furniture or any more pictures to have to get ready to move. So we decide things like that, and it just goes with everything from makeup to paper products to entertaining. If you entertain things that you might want to buy a new set of dishes, that's not happening in 2025. Anything that's not necessary. Just make these lists. These are the things that I'm not going to be buying. Our household is not going to be spending money on, and that frees up your money for any extra money that you have, or even your regular pay to go to other things, to go to those increases, those unexpected bills, whatever may happen in our future, this next week or whatever, with the interest rates, with the economy and that, you'll be prepared, or you at least have a game plan. I have an A, a B, and I'm always working on C's. So I hope this is a little help for people. Trying to make it helpful in that to show you exactly where I'm at. Maybe it'll influence you to make something like this of your own or look into something, inspire you to share how you do things, how you cut corners, how you save money for the unexpected. If so, please leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Until next time, be well and be safe, and I'll see you. This video is going up Friday night, and I'll have another video going up Sunday night. I think it's just going to contain an Aldi haul, but I wanted to get 2 videos out this weekend, so take care, and I'll talk to you next week. Okay, one last thing that I do every year, sometimes more or sometimes less than other years. Sometimes there's other items that I make homemade that the following year I might not. But if we talk about going this year and then going into the next year, some of the items that I make homemade are, I'm going to be making all of our spaghetti sauce homemade. So what that's going to yield me is $126 savings a year. Cookies, I usually make homemade cookies, and I make anywhere from 24 to 48 homemade cookies a month. And then my husband always wants to buy a pack or 2. Well, we're not going to be doing that, and our savings will be $46 a year, which may not sound like a lot, but my cookies have 5, maybe 6 ingredients in it, and the cookies that he buys in the store just in preservatives alone have 10 additional ingredients. So yeah, he'll be healthier for it. And our bank account will be a little bit bigger. Desserts, everybody makes desserts, whether it's for a company or for church, for a holiday or whatever. Mine generally costs $5, sometimes a lot less than that. But if I go out and buy a container of ice cream or even one of the cheaper pies in the store, I'm going to be paying anywhere from $6.50 to $9. So making my own desserts saves me $25 or $27 a year. Bread, I have made for a long time, for quite a few years, probably up until about 2021. I made homemade bread every single week, and that's what my husband had sandwiches with. And then 2022, my life got busier with work and so on. But going into the year of 2025, making it all the time, I'm going to save $68.64 a year by just making homemade bread. Again, 3 to 4 ingredients versus 20. Lasagna, I always make homemade lasagna versus ever buying it frozen anywhere. Mine usually yields 4 more larger pieces in addition to what a frozen one at like Sam's or whatever would give you. My homemade lasagna, again, has ground beef, homemade sauce, onion, the noodles. I can even make those homemade if I wanted to, but I think that's, being a little, I don't think that's going to happen. And then you have to I buy ricotta and I buy mozzarella and Parmesan. And still, when I make homemade, it's $9.50 a homemade lasagna versus $13.48 Walmart's version. $23.88 a year savings. And homemade pizzas, the cheapest pizza in our area is $8 for a large pizza, and there are no leftovers, or maybe 2 pieces. I make a homemade pizza. There's generally leftovers for the both of us to have for lunch the following day. My homemade pizza costs $3.50. A store-bought costs $8, with a savings of $108 a year. Just those 6 items save $399.52 on the grocery list. And you might say, well, you got to have the time, and you're right. If you don't have the time, you can't do any of this. And if you do have the time but don't make the time, you also can't do any of this. But there's just a million different ways that I have found, including change your own air filters, change your own cabin filters in our car. If I had a little bit bigger area in the garage, I do my own oil changes. I mean, every little tiny thing that you can think of. Calling, if you have credit cards, calling and asking for a reduction in interest. You name it. I mean, I can think of a million things. Do surveys online. If you have a Capital One card, sign up to just have them in your browser, and they'll give you different things that are on sale or different special buys or whatever, and you can get cash back. Use any type of card, credit card if need be, that gives you some sort of cash back. I mean, we had credit cards, the cash back, to buy birthday gifts and half of our Christmas. So it's just any number of things that you can do to put money back into your bank account. And that will prepare you for whatever is coming down the pike, whether it's changes in the economy, changes in the presidency, changes in your landlord or property owner, changes in your utility company, whatever is going to happen. You're going to have a backup plan, and I will put this up in this video and, just kind of show you what my backup plan is. Maybe it'll inspire you to make your own. Maybe you're making your own, and you can leave how yours is going in the comments, because I'd love to hear about it. But planning and planning and planning is essential to just basically ward off surprise or ward off, the unexpected. You can't control everything, but the things that you can control is how much money you spend. So it's time to use up these tomatoes that I got this late summer, early fall. So I've got just a mixture of just some of the small tomatoes that I grew, the cherry tomatoes, and I've got some slicers. I just got too much of those from a local farmer, so I'm going to use some of those. But mostly it's Roma tomatoes. So we've got some there that I'm just in hot water to get the skins loose, and then over here the skins are loose. And so then once I do that, then it goes to cooking down the tomatoes and then sieving the seeds and I'll probably core them and then cook them down and then sieve out the seeds, and then you add your seasonings and stuff. So I'll be going through all that, showing you that as I go, and then I'll be putting that in freezer bags and pulling it out when I make lasagna and spaghetti, and my husband's going to forgo manwich, thank goodness, from here on out. So I'm going to use that for his homemade sloppy joes and also for casseroles. And here are my tomatoes, cored, and the skins come right off when you dip them into hot water and then right into a cold bowl. They literally fall off. You don't have to do anything for any of it. And then you core it, and in here it goes with some salt and pepper, spices, anything you want to do. Initially, for me, I just do it bland or plain, because I'm going to spice it up when I'm actually making the meal. So all that's going to happen here is we're going to have like a paste or a sauce that's going to go in the freezer. This is like, we're in within an hour. Takes about an hour, I would say. We have some great looking sauce here. Once I sieve off all the seeds and that, it's already thick. Well, it's thickened. It's looking great, and it's still got, well, generally it's about an hour and 15 minutes. I can do it in under an hour, but I haven't been cooking it at a higher rate than really a low simmer because I've been doing other things. But yeah, it's going to be ready in another 15 minutes.